Oh, there we go. Mo is fine. Well, I have a job. It's just not video games. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know, I know. Back to the old days. I think it's more of like I don't think I was personally fucked over. I was once. But that was a long time ago. I think it's just the industry's a fucking dumpster fire, and everybody's getting fucked over. I, isn't high a good thing? Or oh, okay, for Twitter. That's. Well, it wasn't lead programmer, but I was a programmer. Lead programmer was a guy named Luke, who was a really cool guy. But I did work on it. I did go to Canada for it.
All the way up into Canada, huh?
Yeah, all the way to Vancouver, which is like 10 seconds away from the border.
Yeah. I mean, so I guess how did you get into game development? How did you start?
Uh, I studied computer science in school. It took me a while to realize that I should do that. And then I got an internship at EA Sports or EA. Um, they were starting this thing called the EA Academy. And so I got that. And then so I started doing that before I graduated. And then I graduated, and the project, which was March Madness 98, was, it got delayed and delayed and delayed and delayed. So I stuck around, and then I was asked, hey, can I get a full-time job? And so they offered me one. um and it was funny because the following year, and for however long that program stuck around, they didn't accept graduating seniors. So it was like the one year that the program accepted graduating seniors was the year I got it. So it was kind of a fluke sort of thing. And then yeah, so that's how I got my start. And then I bailed to go indie, and it's been a disaster ever since.
Hmm.
So, well, well, it was funny because I bailed to go work for a company in San Francisco that was working on an EA project, and it like it was a really dumb game. It's called Roller Jam, which was this short-lived league that was trying to combine pro wrestling with roller derby, and like people at EA didn't even know they were funding it. It's like, wait, what the hell is
Really?
this? Yeah. I mean, not every, I mean, some people knew, but a lot of the executives had no idea this game existed. And so it got canceled. And that's when I went up to Vancouver. Yeah, it was weird. Yeah, which is one
It,
of 8 million weird things I've encountered.
it's just interesting how people can, especially executives, can be so out of touch with where the money actually goes that, I mean, they've been funding this game for however long until somebody decided to go, hey, you're funding this game. What is this game? And then all of a sudden the plug gets pulled.
Yep, that's basically what happened. And well, that was part of my getting screwed over story, but that's another story. Homeworld 2. Yeah. Um, yeah, no, it was cool. It was an interesting time because this was back in like 2000. And this was when like everybody in Canada was bailing Canada to come to America for all the money, and I did the opposite direction. It was like all the Canadians are selling out, and I was like, okay, I'll take a pay cut. I don't care. I wanted to live in Canada. And it was cool. It was a PC game. I'd never done that before. It was a really fun game. I was doing like gameplay stuff. And the people were cool. It was a big team, but not a big company. And they were working on another game. And yeah, it was cool. It was a lot of fun. The people were really cool. Still love Vancouver. Um, and then for reasons I still don't know, they canceled it. Microsoft canceled it. And I remember that, the lead programmer, Luke, his dream was to visit Japan. And he goes to Japan, and 2 days later, he comes back early because of what happened. And they've laid off a bunch of people, including like one of the original founders, who I'm still friends with today. This guy named Falco. I think yeah, he went to Ubisoft. I'm not sure where he is now. Um, so yeah, it was just like it was another cancellation. It was like, and that's when I got pissed off and quit the industry for a while until mobile came around. So, but yeah, it was fun. I mean, working on PC games, cool team, cool people. It was good. And I didn't know there was a third game, to be honest. Yeah. I mean, Homeworld was a really, really cool game, but strategy isn't really my thing. So, yeah, so no, I never spoke to Randy. I never got above speaking to okay, what was his name? I can't forget the head of Relic. But yeah, no, so I mean, they laid us off, and technically I'm still in I mean, I am in the credits, but it's like, the last thing, additional programming. It's like, okay, legally we got to include this guy because he's American, he's going to sue us. Um, but I never yeah, well, I mean, I don't know if that's true. I mean, I was on good terms. I actually was going to play on their hockey team the next year, but I decided to bail the industry instead and traveled and, again, eventually got back when, flip phones came out. So
I remember seeing that.
Yeah, well, I didn't consider the Homeworld thing fucked over. It's just that's just business. I mean, I got fucked over by EA, because I quit EA, which pissed him off, and it was dumb because the indie world is not what I thought it was going to be. Um, and then when the company I was working for was collapsing, the first of many, I actually got a job working for EA Vancouver, and somebody, and I think I know who it is, made a call, and suddenly I get a call saying, "Yeah, you're no longer hired." So somebody stepped in and cockblocked me from a job that I had. I quit EA, and somebody was so ass hurt about it that they fucked me over and made a call, and the job that I had was taken away. And so I ended up working for Relic. Yeah, and I think I know who it is, but I'm not going to mention names. He might be dead by now, for all I know. But so that was my one like fucked over thing. Everything else that happened to me was just business. So so yeah, I don't care. That was the third company that I sort of uh that was, I think, the third company that I was kind of like co-owner of. Um, yeah, Radiance. It was big enough. Yeah. No, that Radiant was the game that, or the company that, yeah, I met it. Like I worked at Streamline. Uh, where I built a team in Colombia, and my buddy and I were trying to get something going. And I was going to be his tech guy, but the industry was just, what Jorge told me, was my partner, is that a lot of it had to do with the election. Before the last election, nobody was spending money. Like we actually had a lead right away on a Switch game, and they were all ready to go. And then every week it was just like, Meta's not spending money. Meta's not spending money. They're going to talk about it next week, and then after like I don't know how many months, the conversation just stopped. Um, and it was just like, Jorge was like, I've never seen anything like this. This is like worse than '83. During the big crash. It was that bad. And so it's like, and I thought I had it made because, Jorge's in Mexico. And that's part of the industry issue is that, it's like moving factories to Mexico. I'm like, well, hell, I'm in a Mexican company. I'll be making the same money I was making with other companies in America as I was going indie. And I figured, oh, I'm set. We're a Mexican company. I was the only, native English speaker in the company. And but yeah, it was just a disaster, except for one quick 6-week thing that was the worst. Ugh, sub. We're not teachers, believe me. Substituting is not teaching. You don't teach anything. You know. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I mean, the job is worthy of respect, mostly because we're helping out teachers. Teachers need days off too, and so, but basically, a sub's job is just to hand out assignments. You get a schedule, and it's just like, okay, have them do this at this time, and that's it. And you just got to deal with the fact that you're treated like shit because you're a sub. Well, it depends on the class, but yeah, no, it's like the easiest job in the world,
I
and there's
mean,
no
subs back in my
supervisors.
day.
Just what's that?
So subs back in my day, you didn't even used to hand out assignments. They would just put on an episode of Bill Nye and call it a day. It was great. I
Yeah,
used to love
yeah.
those
I
classes.
haven't done that, but you know, and it's even crazier this week and next week because I'm working at a school district that's on strike. So few kids are showing up. And so, I had a class of like 5 kids and we were just throwing paper airplanes around. You know, it's like um so yeah, no, it's a cool job. I like it. Well, I mean, I was upset just because of the industry and I couldn't find anything. and I was nervous about subbing. It's like I don't know how to teach, and your call time is 15 minutes before class. Like, how the hell am I supposed to learn what I have to do to teach in 15 minutes? And I don't know how to teach anyway. But then I realized you're just handing out assignments like, oh, this is awesome. I can do this. Piece of cake. And other than, the occasional asshole kid or class, it can be honestly, sometimes it can be boring. Like I've watched like two movies in a day at work, and nobody cares. It's like, like teachers come in and see me on my laptop and they don't care. It's like as long as the kids are behaving. So it's like, uh, yeah, no, it's a cool job. It's a lot different. I mean, it's working out a lot better than I thought. I kind of want to teach a Roblox class. Like get it, get extra money for an after school program. It's like, yeah, you want to learn how to make Roblox games? Um, but I don't know.
Well, yeah, you could do a
Yeah,
lot with it. It's crazy. I mean, Roblox back
yeah.
when I used to play on it was just very simple, very basic. It was almost sort of like Legos. You had these sort of cool models that you could download, but I mean, if even Sega adapted the Roblox market with one of their Sonic games. Transformers had one for the longest time until some sort of rights issues, but you could do a lot more with Roblox now. And you having worked in the industry, I mean, do you think it's a vibe? Like, do you think it would be considered like a game dev tool, Roblox nowadays?
Well, it's a game dev tool that's kind of more made for kids. Because if
Mm,
you know Roblox, every game is the same. Um, well, I mean, there's variations, but it's all the same controls and the same this and that. And
mm,
that's what really pissed me off about it at first, is that I was trying to, yeah, like you start Unity or Unreal and you press play, you get a blank screen. With Roblox, your character drops down, you can run around, and that's all built in, but you can't change it. I spent like an entire day just trying to get acceleration and deceleration with movement, which would have taken me 20 minutes in Unity.
mm,
But you can't do that. It doesn't let you, and it drove me insane because, the design we had was our thinking was Unity. We have total control. So it takes away a lot of control, but that's makes it easier. And kids don't care. Like you're exactly right. I think of Roblox as like Legos that come to life.
mm.
And so you can do a lot of stuff without any programming. Um, so yeah, I wouldn't, there's no way in hell I would try to make it, a regular game with Roblox. Like if you make a Roblox game, you're making Roblox. Um, because it's all, I mean, there's a lot of built-in stuff, like the multiplayer is built in, and so it's great for kids. But if you want to make some cool, you know, game where you have control of everything, don't use Roblox. If you're, you know, so. And the other engine that I worked with, it was a. Have you ever heard of Meta Worlds?
I've never heard of it, no.
Well, that was what it originally was, but then they had like Meta Worlds Horizon, which was 100% a Roblox ripoff. And that was the project that I worked on for 6 weeks, and it was an absolute nightmare because it was like pre-release. It was like evaluation. I think it was like pre-alpha, so it was a complete broken piece of crap. And there was no I mean, there was documentation that was crap, but there was no Udemy courses, YouTube, nothing. It was like pre-release, and it was just a nightmare. And the team are the biggest dicks on the planet. And so, yeah, it was like, the guy who was like kind of running the team is one of these assholes that like will make a PowerPoint presentation and then be gone for the rest of the week. It's like, what? The bullet point says we're trying to make the best fishing game ever? No. I thought we were trying to make the shittiest one. This fucking asshole thinks he walks on water. This other guy just never didn't have a disgusted look on his face. Like, fuck you guys. And let's just say I was gleeful when I saw that thing is getting shut down. So yeah, I was like, yeah, fuck you. Yeah. No, I've done Unity VR, but yeah, no, that is definitely a VR thing, and you can do some pretty amazing stuff with their VR thing. But the 2D PC Roblox clone, I'm pretty sure that's gone. So
Well,
Yeah. Well, I mean, Meta VR is different than Meta Worlds. Meta Worlds is 100% Roblox clone. Meta VR is a little different. Like you can do, like I was in, in some Discord meetings, and they're doing really amazing artwork. Some guy made, just was streaming himself making a giant Galactus.
mm,
And so you can do some really cool shit. But the Roblox clone, which was meant for tablets and desktop and everything like that was different. So yeah. What headset do you have? Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Hook me up, man. I want to get in on the focus group thing. Okay, cool. I mean, I can do it after school. So, and then of course summer. But yeah, I mean VR it's cool, but the resolution isn't that great, at least on Quest 2, and it's just it like I was curious about the Google or the Apple thing. Like I think that's more what you're talking about. We have all these monitors everywhere. So, wasn't that like
yeah, like
six
3 grand
grand?
or something.
Yeah.
That kneecaps the normie market for it. That's way too
Yeah.
expensive for the average
No
person.
kidding. Yeah. Well,
Mm.
that's Apple. I mean, they charge yeah, they charge $700 for a set of wheels. I mean,
Well, I mean, Google also had a headset that was priced pretty high as well, and I'm talking like this might have been 10 years ago at this point when VR and AR were starting to become really popular. Maybe it wasn't Google, maybe it was Microsoft, but they had some sort of the HoloLens. That's what it was. The whole, they had that demo. Yeah, and it, it, that was priced at 3 grand out the door, if I remember correctly, and you know, it's so expensive that just the average person who wants to play 1 or 2 games on it or even just test it out just can't just because it's unaffordable for them. And I think that's really what kneecaps the VR market is just you just price out your basic user. So, not only that, but you don't get any devs who develop for it. They're not going to really make any sales because nobody can buy the hardware. Um, and everybody's just fine with watching streamers do it, so they don't even have to pay. Again, it all comes back to just how much the basic thing costs to buy into the economy, into the to the VR system.
be honest, I do not know. I don't know what the budget was. I never asked. I don't think they want to tell us. So Even the EA games, I'm not really sure. So that wasn't really my department. So and I don't yeah, yeah, I mean, I'm curious to know what GTA 6 cost, um, to make.
3 billion. I heard one. I heard 1 billion. Eh,
I would
well,
not doubt that. Well, I don't know, 3 seems a bit high, but then again, what do I know? Like, I don't know how much money GTA 5 has made. A lot, but, yeah. I mean, in my day, it was like I was working at EA when the first entire industry billion-dollar year happened, and now it's like one game can make $1 billion. What the hell? No, that's right. I don't know why. I just, I was looking at, I mean, the latest Mario Kart game is $80. And, like GTA 6, they say it could cost over 100. And what's even funnier is that apparently it's like a 650 gig game, and the more popular consoles only have a 500 gig drive. So they literally can't even fit it on their console. And it's like, you know, so I'm curious to see. It's like, yeah, the only way you can play it and I heard that it's only 30 frames a second on PS5. Um, so I don't know if that's true. I have no idea. But like, if you want to play it at 60 frames a second, you need to have a PS6 or a PS5 Pro or whatever. And yeah, like you need a six. Yeah, you need like a 6080 Ti, which doesn't even exist yet. And apparently, all that stuff's getting pushed back because of the memory prices. Like I think whatever his name, Huang or whatever his name is, Mr. Leather Jacket. He's like, yeah, there's delays because memory. It's like thousands of dollars for 128 gigs of RAM now. It's like, good grief. Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
And
like, I sold my laptop to pay rent, but I was kind of burnt out, I was just kind of getting kind of burnt out on the games I was playing. So I'm left with my Switch, which is fine because, Nintendo games are a little bit different, but it's like, yeah, like if you want to get a good high-end gaming system, yeah, it's pretty insane. I mean, it's fun,
no,
but
it's interesting. You
it's
guys are you guys are both touching upon a point that kind of going back to the VR conversation where it's getting to a point, especially with these memory shortages and whatnot, people are going to stop upgrading their hardware just because they're going to get priced out of it. So, when you have all these companies that are requiring you to play their game on hardware that you just can't afford, then nobody's going to buy your game. It's going to be worse performance. But it's interesting because that's where you'll also get all these indie developers that are coming in that'll start making games that anybody can play on any sort of potato hardware and whatnot. And I personally believe that the future, especially if everything is going to continue going the same way, the future is going to have to be pushed to indie games, or these AAA developers are going to have to start scaling back their expectations and the scope of their games just to fit on hardware because again nobody is going to want to upgrade to spend $2,000 on the next PS5 edition or whatnot. I mean they just increased their prices last week $100.
yeah, it's
Insane.
messed up. I think everybody's gonna wake up one day and realize, you know what, 1080p is fine. Fuck you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need 4K. You know, and so it's like, okay, yeah, I need to spend 20 grand on a PC to play your game at 4K Ultra. Well, screw you. I'll just play it at 1080. What do I care? It looks fine. You know, the PS3 was 720 mostly, and it looked great.
Mm-hmm.
So, I
Oh
was definitely
God,
one of the people that got sucked into the whole you have to have 4K, and then, but now if I ever got back into it, it'd be like, 1080p is fine for me. Maybe
I was
1440.
muted on the stream this whole time. I'm so sorry, everyone. Someone was watching and they just texted me in private that they heard you guys, but they couldn't hear me, which
Oh, you
sucks.
mean on YouTube?
Yeah, on YouTube. Yeah, on YouTube
Okay,
or
well,
whatever the fuck.
technical difficulties.
Technical
Yeah,
difficulties. So
happens. This
I
is the first
apologize
one.
for that. Yeah, it's good that this is the first episode. And we could always do it again if you guys have the time, of course. So let me ask him if he could hear if he hears me now. Yeah, it's good that let me
Yeah,
speak
that
to
might
him.
be a good technical check. One of us logs in and
I
see,
thought we
make
did
sure we can
the
hear
weird thing is
everybody.
I thought we did the technical check, so I thought I
We
thought
did,
they
and
could hear me.
we did, but it was on the previous. It was on one of the previous ones before we started up. I don't know if you changed anything when we
No,
started up
I
the
didn't
regular
change
stream.
anything, which is weird. Maybe it's Twitter that's fucking up. You want to check the YouTube real quick and make sure that you could hear me?
Yeah, let
I
me see
just
if it
tried
works.
to, but it's not live. It's just like
No, it
says
should. No, it's live. It's muted. I have the link right
says
here. Let me post no, it's live. It's muted. I have
yeah.
the
Well, it
link right
says
here. Let me no, no, no.
four
I could hear
views.
myself apparently. I could hear myself within the
Okay.
Discord. Let me show the video. Let me get
Oh, somebody
open up
says all
Discord.
right. It works. It works.
It
Works
works now.
now.
Yeah, it works
So
now.
I think
Yeah,
I think we're good.
I think we're
And
good.
hey, hey to the one guy from my area that tuned into the stream. I appreciate you.
Yes,
Anybody
thank
from
you, thank you.
Colorado in the stream?
From
Anybody
Colorado,
from Colorado in the stream? I don't know.
New York.
Just one guy. Yeah, New York here. But yeah, what's it called? Where was I? Sorry about that. Where was it go? Like so, indie. I think indie is very very interesting because you got burnt out by indie, right, Mo?
Well, it wasn't burnt out. It was just like the last indie company I had was another one that I was sort of like co-owner of. I didn't start it. It
Ah,
was like a passion. Yeah, like my old roommate, or at the time roommate. No, old roommate.
mm.
He met a guy in business school who had a dream and money, and we made the game, and it went nowhere, and the money ran out. So, and that's
Was
happened
this?
before. Like my first company, we weren't even getting paid, but I still had some life insurance money after my old man croaked, and that went nowhere. And I think is that the only two companies I was like owner of? I don't know. I'd have to go back and look. But no, Indy's great. Small teams, good vibe. It's just very high risk. But
Mhm.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's weird because, like, I mean, if GTA 6 is costing $3 billion, our company did not, obviously. So it's that's why I wanted to bail. I wasn't, I went, it was just, it felt like it was more fun. It's more punk rock. And, if
Yeah.
you're in a company where you own the company, you can always be the next Candy Crush. where if the game is a hit, you profit. But you I had friends who were making 4 times the money I was making that were, my peers. But I was swinging for the fences, but I don't have a family. What do I care?
Exactly. I'm the same way. Like, I don't have any kids to feed or anything like that. So it's like I
Yeah.
could
I
afford to
never
do whatever
wanted
the fuck.
kids.
Yeah, fuck
Yeah.
kids.
It's like, whatever, I'll
Fuck them
swing for the
kids.
fences. Well, now I'm a sub. I'm not going to say that, but,
Well, no, like
this
I'm
is,
saying it, not you. I'm saying it.
well, no, I'm saying fuck some kids.
Yeah,
Believe me,
some
there's some
kids,
kids I
yes.
wanted to strangle. I was talking to this lady, and she was like, there's this one girl. I'm not going to say her name, but I told her who I was subbing for. She's like, oh yeah, Jay. That's not her name, but it's like she's led me to go home and drink many a time. I'm like, yeah, I can
Jeez.
see that. But some kids are super cool.
Oh yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
it's like it's either fun because kids can be kind of endearing in their own way, or it could be a nightmare when they're little a-holes that are jumping up and down, screaming and whacking their Chromebooks on the desk. Or it could be incredibly boring. Like there's nothing more boring than a 12th grade class because they're super chill.
Mm.
They understand that you don't need to yell to talk to someone next to you. So those are the classes where you just kind of sit there. But little kids, you're on your toes the whole day.
Absolutely.
Sped, you're on your toes the whole day. So sometimes you're completely engaged the whole day. Sometimes the class is so chill and you're a sub and they don't have anything to do with you anyway. You just kind of hang out.
Yeah,
Gym's
it's
like that too. Gym, you're on your toes the whole day, but it's like there's nothing to do. You just watch them play tag.
I think it depends on the type of school too. Because, like, for example, I assume public schools are fucking hell, but the private schools are chill if it's like with
No,
kilts and Ritalin or whatever.
the public schools here, most of them have been really really nice. I think
Really?
Colorado gets like 10 billion a year in weed tax, and yeah, the school. I mean, some are definitely run down for sure, and some schools have good kids, some have bad kids, and I haven't quite figured it out if it's the school or the class or whatever. But you never know what you're going to get. I mean, I'm at the same school all next week. There's a strike, so it's like the sub person is like, A, she needs help, but B, she wants me to keep going to the same school within the district just so kids can get more familiar with me. And so it's I mean, like today, I had like my last 3 hours there were like 5 kids, and it was just like we were just hanging out. It's
Yeah.
like yeah, the teacher left us worksheets or whatever. It's like, why? Like normally with worksheets, it's like you do the work, and I would, okay, if you don't do your work, the teacher's going to find out, but the teacher's not coming back. At least not for an entire week. So it's just kind of weird. But yeah, it's been an interesting 3 days, and next week it's probably going to be the same thing. But I'm kind of getting used to it.
Yeah. So going
Yeah,
back to the business partner guy, is it who I visited that one time? The guy who worked on Spider-Man 2, or is it someone else?
Spider-Man 2 guy was my roommate. He's the one who hooked me up with the latest job. So that was
Hmm.
Brent. And yeah, he worked on Spider-Man 2. I remember you guys talking. Yeah, you were hanging out at my apartment once. Yeah, he's I'm not sure what he's up to these days. We talk once in a while. But the last time I saw him was his wedding. It
Oh,
was like, yeah, like the reason I moved out was because his girlfriend was moving in, and I didn't want to pay New York rents. Like by the time I left, the party was over.
yeah.
And everybody keeps contact on social media and stuff like that. So I was like, screw it. But no, this is a guy that he was friends with one of the heavy hitters that I'm friends with in the business.
Hmm.
And so that's how I kind of got hooked up with my last job, which was management, which was weird. But
Yeah. It's funny
uh,
because I'm actually trying to get into management and I can't even get that. I've been looking for 5 years. I'm doing some shit on the side that just for free because no gonna because I basically co-founded the website and I'm just trying to do that while I look for the next job. It's been so rough that I only tended to do the stuff for a year and 5 years down the line I'm still not where I wanted to be. So that sucks for
yeah,
me, but.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I was where I wanted to be. It just didn't work out. It was like,
Yeah, yeah.
it was like, okay, I'm the, I called myself director of development for Radient, but it went nowhere. So I finally got my dream title. It didn't work out. But when people who appear in documentaries about John Madden football are changing careers, it's bad.
Oh yeah, it's bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what else Drew, to go
But
over?
What's
let me
that?
ask you this, because one of the things that I'm part of, I'm part of a huge indie dev community that I do a showcase for each year. And the number one, we used to do interviews with a bunch of the participants. We did an interview with Running with Scissors. And one of the
Yeah,
things
I
that I like
love
to
those
ask
guys.
everybody, one of the things that I like to ask everybody is what advice do you give to people that are starting out in their game development career, people who are trying to stake it out as a solo dev? I mean, you've kind of had your hands in both, so I'm just curious to see like if you were to give, because we do have one watching. We actually do have a solo dev watching in chat from the community that I'm in. So I'm just curious, what advice would you give them about game development, about maybe being part of a publisher or losing the vision because of a publisher? Like, what would you impart to them?
2 words. Get out. No. I mean, the cool thing about doing it on your own, like if he's a solo dev, that's great, and that can actually be done. I mean, the same thing that screwed me over was AI. But with
Hmm.
AI, you can, like if he's a programmer, he can get all the art, music, whatever, um, on his own. So being like that is really, really cool because you're your own boss and you have full creative control and everything like that. And but just, always play it safe, always have a backup plan, like have a part-time job, do something like that. Just assume that it's a very high risk situation. And you could make it really big, but it's not, I mean, not everybody's going to be Flappy Bird, you know. So,
Of course.
and being in again, the smaller teams are a lot more fun, especially if it's a company with your friends. It's a lot of fun and it's really cool. It's just very high risk and volatile, and it's like, but at the same time, if you're working for a big corporation, you could lose your job at any time. Also, it's like, how many stories have we seen recently where it's like, 10,000 people laid off and the studio shuts down, and I mean, not to be cynical, but if somebody makes a piece of shit game, like some of those, games that have, like, I don't can't remember what it was called. It was like so bad they took it off the store. Like these, or
The
like
Lord of the Rings
this.
one or something else?
I can't remember what it was called. I just remember one of the characters looked like,
Gollum?
she was wearing like a barrel. No, not Gollum. It was, I know, like the Saints Row remake,
Oh,
and
right.
it
Yeah.
was another, like,
Dustborn.
like super woke games, and they bombed so hard that, yeah. So it's like it's risky anywhere you go, and with AI and stuff. So I say go for it, but don't, you know unless you're rich. I wouldn't put all my chips in the bag. But I think that's just normal advice anyway. So it's just, and I've never had a huge indie hit, so I might not be the best person to ask. But uh, yeah, I mean, again, I prefer indie just because it's more fun, more creative control,
Yeah.
less bullshit. It's like if you need to take off, or nobody cares. It's sort of like you got to be really mature though. Because a lot of people can take advantage of the situation. It's like, oh, this is so chill, I can just fuck around and not do anything. And it's like, yeah, it's like being in a punk band. You got to get each other's back.
Yeah, no
So
one
it's
wants
just,
to
you
be
got
the
to.
next Phil Fish.
Oh God, douchebag. Um, but he had a hit at
He had a
least.
hit, yes, but then he just quit all of it just because he was fucking around social media too much.
Yeah, it's like, why the fuck you on social media if you're so fucking easily pussy hurt? Like, what's wrong with you?
Exactly,
But
yeah, just quit it.
yeah. So I mean, my advice is chase your dreams, but have a backup plan. Don't
Mhm.
assume it's going to work. Which again, that's nothing new in the industry, and it's just. But who
No, but
knows?
it's
Like,
yeah, it's definitely something that people need to hear because especially with the circles that I run in, everybody thinks they're going to be the next big hit. So it's nice to
yeah,
have somebody who's especially done it, kind of pull them back into reality. Like, hey, you're not the next Stardew Valley or you're not the next Flappy Bird. Like, be
yeah.
be comfortable just releasing something and seeing how it does, as opposed to quitting your job and doing that for 24 hours a day for 365 days until your game's done.
Yeah, yeah. No, I
Yeah.
mean, but again, also, yeah. My other advice: don't be me. No, okay. I mean, I've never worked on. I mean, I've worked on stuff that was popular, but never anything indie. I've worked
Yeah.
on stuff that was supposed to be cool. Like I worked on a new Saga Yojimbo game, went nowhere. I worked on an augmented reality game with Shaquille O'Neal, went nowhere. So it's like, and those were companies that I worked for. I wasn't part of it. Um,
Can I ask
but
about the Shaq game?
it was, well, Shaquille O'Neal had this like really, really shitty but really cheap like flavored iced tea brand called Soda
Mm.
Shack, and I was hired to do it. It was an augmented reality game where you point your
Interesting.
phone at the can, and then a basketball hoop shows up, and you flick a basketball and stuff like that. And it's
Oh,
like,
so
ooh,
it's not.
Shaquille.
So it was a smartphone game, not like a VR game, right?
No, no, it was
Yeah.
augmented. It was augmented reality.
Okay, guys, I
Um,
thought it was mixed reality first. Like I was gonna say, oh shit, that's actually really cool, but just one of those like flip games. I do. Don't get
well,
me
no, I
wrong,
mean it was augmented reality. You point your camera at the can, and the basketball hoop would show up on the can and track around and stuff like that. It was
yeah, but I'm
Qualcomm
thinking,
was tough in it.
yeah, but I was thinking more like Apple Vision Pro virtual reality, not so much the
Yeah,
Pokemon
it's like a
No,
VR.
Pokemon Go with
Yeah,
Shaq. Yeah.
I get
yeah,
it now. Yeah,
basically.
because
Well, not nearly as complicated, but yeah, that's basically what it was. It was augmented reality. Augmented reality is actually pretty cool.
oh yeah, for
It's
sure.
easy to
Like I
work
think,
with too.
yeah, because I think there was like a Monster Hunter game and a Pikmin game, like a Nintendo game that does it pretty well. I know, like I'm not sure if you met him. Well, maybe I shouldn't say it on stream, but our old nerdy friend, his name starts with an A and ends with an X. Plays the
Oh yeah,
Pikmin Go
yeah,
game. Yeah.
yeah. He was part of the my nerd friends crew. That's what I called all you
Yeah, the
guys that I
nerd
met
the
at that
nerd crew
party.
that we used to have. Yeah. So
Yeah,
he came later
and I
on.
still
He really
feel
got.
bad for flaking on Boga. Ugh, what was wrong with me? It was a stressful time. Anyway, go on.
You're fine. You're fine. Yeah. So anyway, I know my friend was really into the Pikmin AR game. I mean, so yeah, AR has potential. Just not as much potential as I think virtual reality or the controller games. I do think there is market potential there,
Yeah.
but I do think it's fairly niche. And going back to indie, if I may, I think another thing I want to add to it is to spend responsibly. Like, don't spend all your money on a single game that's a passion project. Expect to sell 100 copies, not 100,000. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. And the thing is, it's not really that expensive um, to make games. I mean, it's been like that for a long time. Like you don't need unless you're doing console, you don't need to spend 25 or whatever the hell they cost now on a dev kit. You get a decent PC. Well, if you want to do mobile, you got to have a Mac because
Yeah,
you
that's a
can't
pain in the
make
ass.
you can't make iOS games on a PC, but Mac can do both. So
And Macs are
and
cheap
with
too
that,
now. You get a MacBook Mini, I think, for 600, 500. So you could just
yeah, I'm on a Mac Mini right now. I love it. I absolutely love it. And they just came out with the Neo or whatever the hell it's called, which is like a
yeah,
cheap laptop.
it's like $500, which is great. I love that they're getting back into like better pricing when everyone else is going skyrocketing 5,000, 6,000, 7, nine
Yeah.
thousand dollars for a fucking laptop. Apple
Who
just
knows?
putting it like $600. Boom, and you got a decent
Yeah.
laptop. Even though
Maybe
I hate
Apple.
Apple because their software is so restrictive, I love the hardware. I mean, I am using an iPhone right now as a web camera. I do think that Apple has some good hardware stuff. I disagree with a bunch of their software shit because I'm using Linux on my desktop because I'm a fucking nerd. But with
Well,
Apple,
yeah.
yeah, with Apple, I think they have smart people, but also too smart people. Like for example, they're very restrictive on certain things. But I would argue that
Yeah.
they're better than everyone else with the whole everything else. They're better on. Like I think everyone just in general is just retarded, especially Microsoft. Like
Well, I think that Apple is better at everything but games.
yes, that I agree
It's
with
like they're
because
like especially, I was really into, making music for a while. And nobody uses a PC. You plug in a piece of gear to a Mac and it works. A PC, like my buddy of mine had like a top of the line gaming system and he was still dealing with all sorts of lag, when he was recording. But Apple, it just works. It's just amazing. So, and I just find yeah, I like Apple for everything but games.
yeah,
It
and
just
I think
pisses
that the
me off.
problem is that I think someone mentioned it in a video. I can link it to you later. But basically, the general idea why Apple doesn't invest so much into games is because they view it at them as apps rather than culture, which I think was a very strong argument that the video made. I'll share it with you later. But basically, because Apple won't allow Vulkan on the Mac, they use their Metal API or some bullshit. Valve can't use their Linux tools on the Mac, making it a little bit more harder for people to game on the Mac. They have to pay $70 a month for an app called Crossovers for them to play games on the Mac, which I think is just
Yeah. And well, I mean, Apple was great for games back in the day because you could get Boot Camp and, and you could boot up as Windows. But then they came out with their own this Apple Silicon
yeah.
M1 bullshit, and now it's just like you can't do Boot Camp anymore.
And
And
that's bullshit. It's bullshit, but it's actually kind of funny because they actually both redid the hardware game in terms of productivity, but then fucked over everyone else. Tex wants to know what you think, Mike. What do you think of Linux?
I love it. I mean, I don't use it. I used it for one project, which was a kind of a weird project for Magic Leap, but yeah, I think it's great. I love it. It's just, it's not very practical if you're like these days I could use my computer just for like, home stuff. And, again, I was really into like using Logic Pro and Final Cut and everything like that. But yeah, it's a lot better than it used to be. Again, I was using Linux for the Magic Leap stuff, and it's really, really cool. I'm a little not familiar with it, but it's just, I'm too lazy to want to work around. Like, I hate GIMP. Like Photoshop's cool, but I hate,
GIMP
so it's
is
like
shit.
if you have the tenacity, then I think it's a fantastic alternative because it's basically free. And it's not like the old, like now that it's all GUI and stuff like that. It's just like, yeah, I think it's great. It's just there's too much extra headache, for me for it to be as easy as a Mac. And again, I needed a Mac for for work. I mean, actually, a buddy of mine did use Linux or Linux or whatever to work on a game, but that was a weird thing. It was like my first Unity project was for Bally's Casinos, and they were doing they wanted to start getting into 3D graphics for their slot machines, and this had like a head tracking thing, and it was interesting because the casino whatever overseers who you do not want to fuck with, fuck the Yakuza, fuck the mob, fuck the feds, you do not mess with the casinos. And there was a very specific kernel of Linux that was the only one that was allowed. So that, I found that very, very impressive for Linux because they don't trust Windows, they don't trust OS X, only this specific Linux kernel. And if you're willing to get past the guards at the casino companies, that's a huge to me win for Linux. And except when they put up billboards. I remember in Manhattan there was this big penguin on a building in Manhattan, and the next day it was Microsoft. So,
Jesus Christ, that's
like,
funny.
Yeah, they scare Microsoft. So I'm 100% pro Linux, and it's just I'm too lazy to work around the the non-normie based headaches.
Yeah, I gotcha. Like it's funny because I think. Oh, you wanted to say something, Mount, or
I don't know. I had nothing to
Oh,
say.
sorry.
I just thought it was interesting that it was you that you worked on something for casinos. I just thought that was a little interesting.
What, Magic Leap?
And yeah, you said you were doing something for 3D graphics with for casino slot machines.
Yeah, it was Bally's, and it was a 3D slot machine, and that was using head tracking. So if you went like this, the thing would turn and all this kind of stuff. But I didn't work with that. That you had to have Linux for that. I was working on my Mac in New York, so I was just working on the game, and my friend was the one who was dealing with the head tracking and all that kind of stuff because he had all the hardware. He was in Vegas. It was cool. I got to go to Vegas. It's amazing how much money those people spend, man. Like the guy who was sort of running the thing, he was just throwing. He was like trying to like show us stuff to get us excited about slot machines, and the money he was spending is like, huh? But yeah, it's just crazy the kind of money that some people have. And Magic Leap was like that too. They were burning through money like God, and they failed. But
that's unfortunate. It's like with casinos.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. I was going to say,
Well,
you don't want to ask where that money comes from either. I assume it's a lot of dirty money.
Well, it's not run by the mob anymore. It definitely was. Like Joan Rivers was talking about that. She was like, yeah, things were a lot different then because it was run by the mob. Now it's corporations, which aren't any better. But it's not like I don't think people are getting whacked anymore. But I don't know. Again, I don't know. It's like Vegas has become so weird.
Now the
I
government's
mean, I
doing the
love it.
whacking.
Everybody's getting whacked, but no, Vegas went like I think when corporations saw how much money was being made, they took over. You know, and
Maybe,
hell,
yeah,
they got the
maybe that's a
Raiders.
possibility.
They got my team. The shittiest team in the league, but hey, we got a good quarterback coming.
Yeah, there you go.
So
What else is there? What else did I want to go over? Um, fuck. There's something else, but yeah, I think in terms of fucking, in terms of the topics we covered, I pretty much covered all the bases. But let me try to think of some other things I could bring up.
yeah,
What about so this Brent? You don't speak to him anymore, or what happened? Because I want.
no, we're still good friends.
Okay, that's
Um,
good.
it's just that it's like he's married.
Oh,
Like he knows what I'm up to, and it's just like when you get to a certain age, your life becomes kind of boring.
yeah,
It's like, hey, what's up? Nothing. Yeah, he's married. He's doing his. It's not like you have like when you're younger, you have all these wild stories for all the crazy shit you're up to. That dries up. So yeah, no, we're still. I mean, again, I went to his wedding.
oh yeah.
The only time I've been back to New York. I was only there for a weekend, so I didn't really tell anybody.
I should have told me. I would have hung out. You probably didn't have
Well, I
time
didn't
though.
have any time to hang out. I
Yeah, I know.
flew in
Yeah,
like late Friday. The wedding was Saturday, and I bailed on Sunday.
yeah, it makes
But I
sense. Yeah, I
missed
wouldn't blame
I
you for
missed my
that.
flight because I was hungover. But yeah,
Oh yeah,
yeah, no, we're still friends. Everything's cool.
that's good. That's good. Yeah, because I wanted to see if you like bring him on this experiment if he has time. I don't even know if he has time because I what's it called? I have like a list of people want to try to bring on this experiment. I'm not sure if they have time for it. Like, you don't. Do you guys know who Majesco is? The company Majesco.
No,
No.
They had this game called Advent Rising on the original Xbox. They spent a shitload of money. They published the original Psychonauts. Any bells?
I know I've heard of that. Yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah, so apparently my aunt, my grandma's sister, the old CEO of that company does some charity work for her because she runs a charity organization. Go figure, right, Jews? I
Jews
was thinking
charity,
about
really?
yeah, no figure, go figure, right? So my grandma's sister runs a Jewish charity organization where he donates some of his time. I was thinking about trying to get him on the show if I can. I'm not sure if I could because I think got fucked over, but not or got fucked over by the industry or just had some mishaps or got fucked over. Whatever the term is, I think he's in a similar situation to us. Is better off because he has those millions of dollars that he made, but he ultimately got left the industry, kind of like a THQ sort of situation, not Nordic, the original THQ.
Yeah, I mean, money can go really fast in this industry. Again,
Yeah, really
look at
good.
Magic
Yeah.
Leap, it's idiots. But so yeah, just 'cause you have millions of dollars, if you're spending it stupidly, nothing's going to last.
Yeah.
Or if you're funding
So if
games that you don't even know that you're funding.
yeah, well,
Exactly.
that was
Yeah. Because
EA.
yeah.
You
Because a
know,
funny story I want to bring up is that company I was talking about just now went under because they're investing a lot into like Facebook games, like Farmville and shit like that. Remember those type of games? Like
oh,
a,
yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. So the company I was talking about, my family friend that I worked that did one summer of QA and then then went to college because I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I was sleeping most of the time because I had severe sleep apnea. I was like 19, 18 years old. They ultimately went under because they were invested too much into Farmville and those social experiments, and that unfortunately just didn't work out for them. And company went under a few years later. So it's really interesting.
Yeah.
What up?
Like I remember the name Farmville, but I can't even remember what the game looked like.
Yeah,
But
so it was on Facebook.
yeah.
It was on Facebook. It was really big for a while. It was making a lot of money, and then people stopped making money into Facebook or whatever. I think what happened was Facebook changed something, and then all these companies couldn't make games on the platform anymore. It was around I think it was around the timeline update. I don't remember exactly, but if you're using Facebook back like really in the early days, there's a lot of extra shit on there. Like they had their own forum, they had games, they had a lot of extra shit, and then they just shut all that down, streamlined it, and try to focus on data collection. What we like, for example, what are your friends doing? Like, what are you doing with your friends? Like, like they shut down a lot of the community stuff for personal features, which I thought was very interesting. But yeah, one of the tragedies of that was was Majesco because they invested millions into Facebook games and they got fucked over.
Yeah, well, I mean, Facebook is good for like board games and
Yeah,
Scrabble and shit like that. It's like simple, yeah, just digital board games. But I couldn't imagine playing like a normal game on Facebook. And
it's actually. Oh, go ahead. I was going to say it's actually kind of interesting
yeah,
because I don't know, I think it was Farmville that was making the most money on the platform, that and Candy Crush. And it was really during the mobile era, like the Nintendo Wii U, Wii stuff, when the iPhone was first coming out and they were making money on that. And there was a lot of experimentation. I think a lot of companies went under because of said experimentation.
yeah, yeah. But it was there's so much money in gaming, everyone wants to get into it. Like Netflix has a gaming unit now.
Yeah, which is yeah.
So, well, which is like, all right, if you got the money. But God, who else had tried to get into the gaming sphere and bombed? I mean,
Amazon,
I don't.
arguably.
Yeah, but I mean, you're talking about like EA at its start was hardcore gamers.
Mhm.
Now it's corporate, but when corporations try to get into it, it's not the same thing. I mean, they're going to hire game industry people, but it's there's in my opinion, there's definitely kind of like a next level sort of passion you have to put up with that industry. So,
Absolutely.
and if you're just going by the numbers, like, I'm going to do the minimum amount of work just to keep my job, that's not going to work.
100%, 100%.
You
It's especially because things are so bloated now. Like I think bloat is a big issue in the games industry.
Well, I mean, I don't know. It seems like it's boiling down to just like like GTA 6 will be. I don't know. I mean, again, GTA 6 might bomb. If it's like $150 and you can't even download it to your console, you know, it's like it might not be able to sell for that reasons, and people just might be like, what, fuck you. I'll just keep playing GTA 5. So I don't know. We'll see.
The cruel thing I'm about to say is my opinion alone. I think GTA 5 bombing will actually help the industry because it bring us back into work and give us jobs, whereas the people who just got in there because they're trendy would try to leave for other things. So it becomes sort of like not it wouldn't become niche again. I think it would become less popular, but it would ultimately benefit the industry if GTA 6 bombed because then less people who don't give a shit would get out of the industry, while more people who do give a shit would come in.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine it bombing other than just they're
Yeah, it's
screwing
not gonna
up. I
bomb.
mean,
This is just me being like extremely like what's the word?
yeah, but again, it could.
Cliche.
I mean, it could maybe not bomb, but be a disappointment. Like something
Yeah,
that's
but even then, I
successful.
would strongly doubt it. Unless they do something like Watch Dogs, where they completely disappoint, or Cyberpunk launch, where they completely disappoint every single metric. I just don't see it bombing, and this is just my personal opinion. I just
Yeah,
it's
yeah. No, I mean, again, it's not going to bomb, but if millions of people can't even buy it because it's too expensive and it doesn't fit on their hard drive,
and it's not
you
fun. The
know.
important thing is it has to be fun. You know,
Well, I mean, Rockstar's been pretty good about that, but well,
true, but
Cyberpunk was a different story. That was just, I mean, in my opinion, that's the greatest game ever made. But it was such a technical fucking disaster. It's
especially
like,
at launch, yeah.
yeah, and it was just like, what the, like, this guy's like, there were unexpected issues. Are you fucking kidding me? You've got like hundreds of people on QA. You didn't realize it was a giant, disastrous piece of shit on PS4. Like, what the fuck? But, like, now it's like the greatest game ever made. I've got like 750 hours in that fucking thing. So it's like, uh, but yeah, at the beginning, it was just like, but I never trust games that come out for the holidays because they're always rushed because they want to make the Christmas market. And so it's just like, if it's coming out in like October or November, don't buy it, you know, because it's just going to be, I mean, it's not always true, of course, but it's just like, you know, it's like, we got to make Christmas. We got to make Christmas. We got to make Christmas. And I think that's what Cyberpunk did. I don't remember when it came out, but,
Yeah, it came
you
out
know,
around Christmas. Yeah, usually my what I think is a good benchmark is from January to April and September. Those are, and August to September. Those are usually one of the good games releases because they're very relaxed when they're releasing in fucking
Yeah.
August or June.
Yeah. I mean, things get pushed back, but it's really hard to push back Christmas. So
Absolutely.
and Hanukkah, of course. But
No, fuck Hanukkah. It's all about Christmas.
So it was yeah, so that, but like, when's GTA 6 supposed to come out?
November, I
November.
think November 15th.
Christmas.
Well,
Christmas.
at the same time, they've been working on that game for 10 years. But at the same time, it's probably so complicated. Who knows? Like, I don't even buy AAA games at release anymore. It's like I wait for about 20 different patches and then I'll pick it up.
Yeah, that's usually the safe bet. The last one I bought, minus Crimson Desert, just because I was really looking forward to that game, was fuck, I don't remember. Maybe Space Marine 2 at like no wait, there was Ninja Gaiden I bought in October, so I don't think I could say anything in regards to AAA. But there's a lot of games that I do want to buy that are just I'm outpriced by, and I'm a gamer. I love these things, and I can't afford every single game. It's insane. They're $70. I usually have to get a loan for them. It's I think the prices of games have gotten too high, even for the niche games, which they want $70 for. I think if they priced them smarter, like 50, 40, even 60 for the high end, I think people would be more receptive. And I think even if they priced them lower, they could always make the money back via merchandising and building them up as a brand. I think that there not enough game people try to build these games up as brands, and as a result, they just bet everything on the game itself, and that's why. Oh, there we go. And that's why I think that they shouldn't be spending 300 million. I think they should be spending 50 million and 100 on the high end, and then just put 5-10 games out that cost 10 million, 50 million, whatever, and then build them up as brands, not just individual games, and see which ones work, and then expand on those 10 games once their successes, see what works, see what doesn't. But do it smart. Don't just put another 100 million and then 1 billion and 3 billion. You got to play these things smart,
Yeah, well, another good thing, at least for consumers, is like the quote unquote retro market. Like Nintendo has like a subscription service. You can play all the Star Fox games, the Zelda games, and shit like that. And you can get so it's like, and with the hardware price, it's like, okay, I have an old computer, but I can get, Syndicate or whatever, which was, well, that's ancient. But like as long as you just got to remember, at some point these graphics were mind blowing.
Yep.
And then you can get older stuff for cheap. And it's like, okay, cool. Like I don't have to play the latest thing, like at least like on the Switch, the games still look great. I mean, it's an old console, but Mario Kart still looks great.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never played a Metroid. I mean, I've played Metroid, but not any of the 3D ones. And it's like I'd probably get those cheap. So I think that's and that's why I'm glad I have my Switch. The Steam Deck I sold because
Rip.
Well, I mean, games made for like Steam Deck, it's basically a PC with a microscopic screen.
Yep.
And the games weren't designed for that size. Like I was playing God of War and I couldn't read any of the text. And there are like, Steam compatible games, right? Which is where I think they increase the AI. But when you're playing a game that was developed for like, 23-inch monitors, this isn't going to look on a 4-inch monitor.
No,
and it ran really well, but it's just like, the UI I think is, and I don't know, I can't stand, like I have my Switch, but I always play it on my TV. I can't stand that small screen.
Yeah, I get that. I think with this, if they make a Steam Deck 2 or whatever, they definitely should like make it easier to dock it, I think.
Yeah, or the Steam Deck. I'm kind of interested to see what that's about, because that's Valve's. If you're the Valve's, little box.
Yeah, XR thing, like the VR thing that they're making. I know. Yeah, that should be.
No, it's not that. It's just a gaming PC.
Oh, the machine.
Yeah, so it's supposed to launch with Half-Life 3, right?
Yeah,
I don't know about that. I think it's called not Steam Deck. That's the stupid head.
It's
like
the not the Steam machine. It's called something else. The
No,
I can't think of the name either. But it's a square box.
Machine. I'm pretty sure he's talking about the machine.
Hold on, let me look this up.
Are you talking about the goggles or the square box?
Not the
Square.
square box.
Oh, not the square box. Never mind.
No, I'm
Oh,
talking
okay.
about the square box.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I forget what it was called, and the whole rumor behind it, the whole reason it hasn't released is obviously the RAM shortages. But supposedly, if you believe the rumors, it's affected the Half-Life 3 development, which is supposed to be the launch title.
Yeah, it's called the Steam Machine. You're right.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, yeah. I mean, we'll see what happens with Half-Life 3. I'll believe it when I see it. I don't think it's ever coming
Yeah, you and everybody.
out.
Wait, has that been officially announced yet?
No,
No,
it's a
no,
big
no, no.
Oh,
rumor.
okay.
It's still going
Yeah,
a rumor going on 20 years now.
yeah, I was gonna say it's like Half-Life, like, and that again, that's another game. Half-Life 2 is a great game. I mean, it does look
Yeah.
old, but it's still like, this is still fun.
I think it looks okay for its age. I think that a lot of people focus too much on realism rather than artistic fidelity, if that makes sense. I think there's a sort of beauty in not low poly, but stylistically designed graphics. Because I think, like, for example, I don't
We
think
didn't have a
GTA San
choice.
what up?
No, you couldn't put 500 million polygons into a gun back then.
Of
So
course, but I think with
it
San
does look a little
Andreas,
clunky, but if you can just get over that, then yeah, like there's 100 million games you can still play, and who gives a
absolutely,
shit
but
about whatever.
absolutely. But I think, for example, I think San Andreas visually hasn't visually aged pretty well. I think as a game it's aged well, but visually speaking, I don't think CGA has a good 3D model that like
What game?
San Andreas, Grand Theft Auto, the third one.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because I would say visually, it's nothing special these days. I mean, back then it was probably mind blowing. You had this open world that you could explore with a car or whatever the fuck. But looking back at it now, I'm sure the game's great. I'm sure, but visually, just looking at screenshots of San Andreas, it's nothing really. It's still stylistically mind blowing. Like for example, I think
Yeah.
Okami on the PS2 is the better looking game, just visually speaking.
Yeah, well, I mean, what's funny about those kind of games, they look shittier in high resolution.
Yeah,
It's like, it's
that's
like you get
true.
this
Yeah.
4K version, you're like, ugh. But you look at it at 480, which is what the TVs were like back then, and it looks cool. So,
Yeah, that's a good point. The CRTs probably hit a lot of stuff that let you fill in the blanks. So there's a lot of tricks or something that really makes it look better. I
yeah,
think.
that's what skateboarding too. It's like, I was watching some documentary and it's like, skate videos just look like shit in HD, but back in the old days, they look so cool. Um,
Yeah, for sure.
and it's just the way it is. And maybe that's the future is just, you know, starting a company that can port games. You're not making new games, at least you have a job,
Yeah,
and you're
maybe.
porting older games, which I'm sure, I know already exists, but maybe if it gets so bad, like fucking, the craziest games, niche games can still get ported, which is
Yeah, I
cool.
think
You know,
I think GOG and Night Dive are
yeah,
doing that right
GOG.
now. Atari.
I like GOG. I mean, they have like, cool stuff and it's really cheap. There's no DRM. Uh, yeah, so GOG is cool.
Yeah, GOG is great. I was trying to think of a pun, but I couldn't think of anything other than God. But I don't even think they're like GOG
Gag.
is God. But yeah, I love GOG. I think they're great. I do think that they need to work on their social features a bit because I think with Steam, there's a lot of features they have, and like Valve's constantly expanding the platform too, which I find very interesting. They're not staying comfortable; they're constantly expanding shit, and they know that they could be outpaced by Epic Games or GOG or whatever, so they try to stay competitive. But I think it's good that GOG exists, even though Epic doesn't really do a good job with their store. That GOG and other storefronts are keeping Steam on their toes, so to speak, or maybe they're just trying to compete with the consoles. I'm not. I mean, that's just my opinion.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't go to GOG for the latest stuff.
Neither
I go
do
to
I. I go there
Steam.
for old shit.
Yeah, like I mean, Epic is cool, but I do have a few. I think I've only bought like two or three games on Epic. The rest of them were just the free ones. But it's like I like Steam, and that's just what I'm sticking with.
For sure, yeah. Because like with Steam, it's
And
like where all the indie games are. They have what it is with Steam is that they have a good business model. I think where they just let everything work. They just it all work. Just let everything in. They filter out some AI shit, and it works because everything could be on Steam. But I think that with Steam is that their open market approach is what makes them successful. In the sense that you could have
Yeah, no,
these niche anime games. There are some that get cock blocked, but for the most part, you have your niche anime games, you have your big AAA blockbusters, you have your indie games. They all get sold through Steam. I think that's an important thing that a lot of people need to take into account. That
yeah,
like I think the problem with the console guys, Nintendo and Sony, is that they don't embrace that sort of Steam openness like Valve does. They
well,
try to like Microsoft, especially with their Xbox stuff, they cock block a lot of shit. Like I think it was in
well,
that.
yeah.
No,
Like Nintendo is its own world now.
yeah,
Like
Nintendo
they
got
used to
better with it.
compete
I
with,
think.
yeah, they used to compete with Sony and Sega or whatever, but now they're just completely different.
Well,
So
because I think after a while that they opened up the Steam eShop a little more when Sony started to block all these niche anime games and started demanding censorship because of the Me Too movement or some bullshit that they said. But a lot of the niche games started moving to Nintendo, and even then they're starting to cock block them a little bit now with the Switch 2. I think I could be
yeah,
wrong, but like I heard that there were difficulties getting Switch 2 development kits. I mean, like
I
from
would, I
indie.
would, I would believe that, but I haven't worked on a Nintendo game since the DS. you know, like,
Yeah. But generally, my thing
um,
is that I think that more console manufacturers, if they would be more successful if they just allowed some slop on the platform, like some niche anime slop or some like
yeah, yeah,
whatever, because it builds up goodwill when you have these sometimes some random anime niche slop gets successful, and then suddenly gains a following, and then suddenly more people come into the platform. I think there's value in that, and you start to build relationships with these upcoming companies that have some value. I think that more companies should embrace the open model, but unfortunately, they're
yeah.
not
I
doing
don't
that.
know. It's yeah, that's way out of my league. Um, but yeah, yeah, I don't know. It's just weird. We'll see if we can get through all this. Not just with the games, but with the jobs.
Yeah, that too. Yeah,
Maybe
because
like you were right. Maybe they'll weed out the people who are just they don't have like the passion for it. Like like I said, there's no way in hell you should be a game developer if you think that working 1 minute over 8 hours is blasphemy. It's just get the
absolutely.
fuck out. That's not how it works. You got to love this thing to put up with the bullshit. It's not you're not working at a fucking Dunkin' Donuts where you know you have your schedule. It's like you show up and you get the job done, and that could take a lot more effort than some people are used to. It sucks. I mean, it's a lot better now,
Yeah,
but it was yeah. I still feel that way. Even though things are easier, you still got to be willing to make the sacrifice. But again, it's not like the old days. You remember the EA Bride stuff?
oh
Sure about
god.
that? Yeah, it was like, there was this thing where like wives would show up to EA and bang their husbands, in their office because they weren't going to be home. It's like, all
Really,
right, honey,
I
I'll
didn't
come
know
and
about
fuck you.
this. This is a
Now
Yeah,
new
it's
that's
thing.
called
first for me
EA.
as well.
Yeah, it was EA Bride, and I remember seeing like drawings of it where it was like, a drawing of like, a couple pairs of legs on top of each other, because the wives would show up and bang their husbands in the office because they were going to be at work for 80 hours a week, if or a
This
day.
is a real
Well,
thing.
yeah, it was a real phrase that came out. It was a long time ago, but it was, the hours were so insane. I mean, I moved a futon into my office to sleep on it because I was, it was like a 40-minute commute. I was like, fuck it, I'd rather just put a futon in here and sleep in here than go home. It's just a waste of time. So I was working so hard. And, with the wait, hold on. Let me look this up. EA. Come on,
Jeez, I'm
AI,
not.
don't let me down.
You know, I'm not sure if it's public yet. I mean, this might be a behind the scenes sort of thing, but I know there was the Activision stuff where a lot of shit came out. But in terms of like the EA Bright stuff, like having people having their families come over to the office just to keep them company, I don't think that's a known issue with the industry yet.
Yeah, I don't see anything on it. But again, it was a long time ago.
Yeah,
But it
yeah.
was like it was a phrase kind of commenting on. And I don't know if it actually happened, but it was a phrase commenting on the amount. Like, you know, I remember I was at an indie company and like the producers. This was the game that got canceled. They came over to our studio and did like an hour's worth of work, and the boss was completely ball washing them. And I said I didn't want to come in all weekend, and he called me a fucking pussy. So it's like that's the kind of shit you gotta, it's like, wait, so this producer does an hour's worth of work and he's a god. I don't want to spend 90 hours coming in, over the weekend, and I'm a fucking pussy. Fuck you, dude.
Jesus
And that
Christ.
really pissed me off. But but again, it's not really like that anymore. But
No, it's
it
not.
can.
I think with gaming in general, I think a lot of it was just it was getting so big so quick that people didn't really know how to control others. Like I think there's a lot of like
Yeah.
growing pains with the games industry, and I hope it's gotten better now. I know there's still some complications in terms of just how they control the company itself, but at the
Yeah.
very least, I do hope the sexual stuff is more contained than it was before.
Right. Right. And here's the most important piece of advice I can tell somebody getting into indie games. You know, fuck your expectations as far as time goes. Like always assume that shit's going to go wrong.
Yep.
Like if you want to have something ready by the 15th, plan on getting it done by the 1st, because shit's going to happen. Do not ever fucking expect that like this is what should happen and it's going to no, you will get fucked over by fate. So never ever ever not plan for a buffer of time to expect for the worst. And the one
No, it's good.
example I have of this is, like I had worked with this thing called Prime 31, which is a great plugin for stuff like social media, and it's like, okay, I've worked with that before. I know what I'm doing. It'll be a piece of cake. And that was like the last thing we did. And it wasn't working. And I look it up and it's like Prime 31 is not compatible with Qualcomm, which is AR. And I'm like, you got to be fucking kidding me. Like the two things in the entire industry that don't work together are what we're trying to do. And I thought we were fucked, man. But fortunately, there was a workaround. There was like another company, and there's like a series of like 20 steps we had to go through, and we did get it to work. But I was not expecting, our Facebook plugin to just for whatever reason not be compatible with Qualcomm. And if you don't expect that kind of shit, you're done. You're screwed. You're going to be fucked over. So just always assume things are going to go wrong. I think it's called Murphy's Law.
Yeah.
So just not like, oh, well, this will be fine. I'll get it done. I'll be ready by Friday. Nah, don't do that. And it pisses me off when I'm trying to lead teams and they don't. I'm like, okay, no. Oh, you want it? You want to be ready by next Friday? Leah, let's get it done the Friday before. And they're like, why? I'm like, shut up. I've been in this industry a while. I know what I'm talking about. So
Yep.
that's probably the biggest advice is, always assume it's going to go wrong.
That's good.
And if it doesn't, great. But if it does, at least you're prepared.
Yeah, always expect the worst and expect to be disappointed. That's usually the advice that I have.
Well, I mean, expect the worst.
Yeah,
I
that's
think
what
it's,
I mean. Expect the worst. Yeah.
always have a buffer for time.
Absolutely.
So.
And oh god, we passed an hour and 15 minutes. I wasn't expecting it to go on so long, but I'm happy it did. Anything you guys want to talk about before we wrap up?
No, I think my warning about time management was, that's the golden thing.
Absolutely,
always buffer your end dates, because shit will happen. Like your internet will go down or something's going to happen. So
absolutely, yeah, absolutely. Well,
and maybe I just have had really bad experiences. I don't know.
No. I think we've both had bad experiences. Just you more than me, but still, it's a rough industry.
Yeah.
Believe me.
Yeah, and it's weird being in a sub because it's like, I've always told people it's like, yeah, like I don't work in an industry that has like a time clock. You sometimes you're done early, sometimes you're done late, but school starts at this time and it ends at that time. That's just the way it is. I've never worked a job that had an end time.
Yeah,
So
which is actually kind of interesting. I do want to segue. I was going to end the show, but I do want to segue into something, into the topic of unionization, because a lot of game stuff are trying to make things better by unionizing, which I think is interesting. Do you have a take on that or not really?
not really. I mean, I don't know a ton about unions. Like I know what they are and what they're for. Um, I'm dealing with it now because of the
Yeah,
strike. And, like I don't think I would ever join a union just because it's so fucking annoying. Like there's these protesters outside school and they just repeat the same phrase over and over. And it was driving me fucking crazy. So I was walking, it's like, we won't quit, we will fight, safer schools are our right. And they were just saying it over and over and over. And I want to put a fucking bullet in my head. Like, what the fuck are you doing chanting this bullshit while you're
yeah,
swinging around pom poms? You know, so, you know, but yeah, it's fun. I mean, but I understand them. And I don't know. I mean, it would be an
because
interesting decision to make if I was going to join a union or not. I mean, there's definitely reasons to do it
yeah, especially in
and
the
reasons
industry where
not.
things are very like I'm not sure if it would make it amplify the worst stuff of the industry or make it better. I really don't know because it's
Well, again, if it was a union, and you could like sue the company if they make you work an extra 20 minutes, you know, that, but at the same time, if you don't work that extra 20 minutes, the game is fucked because it's not done, so
exactly
I understand that, like, not stopping, like stopping companies from making you work, like unpaid overtime is a good thing, but in games, sometimes that's necessary. So I think video game development would be an interesting case for unions. If you're a fucking factory worker, like you show up and then you leave on the dot. But games isn't like that, and a lot of software development isn't like that. But
yeah.
it's not a normal thing. So it would be an interesting. And haven't they been talking about that for like a decade?
The unionization stuff, yeah, I brought it up because I thought it was interesting because you're working with one now, and it's like fucking Jason Schreier of all people brought it up, which is why it's like,
Oh, fuck that guy.
maybe it's something I asked about because I'm not sure if it's a power grab or if he just wants to get more influence or whatever the fuck, or if there's actual merit to some developers unionizing because they got treated like shit. And I don't know if that would
Yeah.
make things worse or make it better. That's why I wanted to ask you about it. What you thought,
Well,
if you had an opinion.
my experience so far with the strike thing is that like we actually got a threatening email or a text
Really?
message, like, yeah, which I considered it a threat. It was from, like, the strike is very important, this will affect subs, the money you're taking is already straight budget, don't cross the line. I was like, fuck you. But because A, they didn't identify themselves, and B, they got our information illegally.
Ooh.
Like, yeah, like we got a message from headquarters saying, like, we know you've been getting messages, we don't know how they got your information, so you're going to steal my information to anonymously send me a threat. Go fuck yourself. So, but yeah, that really, really fucking pissed me off, which made me feel better about, but I'm not crossing any picket lines. I'm not a teacher, I can't take anybody's job. This isn't my fucking fight. Like, a sub and a teacher are very, very different. Their salary, they get paid during the summer, blah blah blah. And so, I don't feel like I'm crossing any picket lines because I'm not a teacher, I can't take anybody's job. And then when they steal my information to send me an anonymous threat, it's like, okay, fuck these guys, you just pissed me off. So yeah, the one union experience I've had has been very negative because of that message. But I haven't had any problems with the protest. I'm actually kind of bummed. I'm thinking about like changing my route to school so I can walk by and get yelled at. I think that'd be funny. But
That would be funny, yeah.
yeah. So my experience with unions is not good, just because of that one incident. But I respect what they're doing. I'm not causing any problems. Like, I
Oh,
understand it's
absolutely.
cool, but I don't think it's like I don't get paid if I don't show up to work. It's like it's like
Yeah.
you're stealing my information to send me an anonymous threat to not go to work. When A, I don't get paid if I don't show up. B, I'm getting paid more because of the situation. See, you really think a fucking teacher is going to do the same for us? No fucking way.
Yeah.
So, Yeah, but again, my situation is different because I can't replace them. So,
Of course,
I don't
yeah.
feel bad.
I was just
You
thinking
know,
like if it would equate to like would they try to get like how would this would connect with game development as like a whole? Because I know like
well, again, teachers work a certain, they show up at
yeah
7:30 and they leave at 3. But that's not how gaming is. So I don't know how it would work. Like I can understand, people not being happy about having to work extra hours, but that, again, things are different now. But you have to
true
be willing to, again, if you find out that your two plugins are not compatible, well, fuck, you got to do it.
yep
So unions are great keeping people from getting fucked over, but sometimes you got to just take the hit for the cause. And that's why I like the indie things. It's like, again, it's like a brotherhood. You're in a punk band,
yeah it's the
and
best. It's like not too bloated. Yeah, I like that too.
yeah, like shit. I mean, like it was the dumbest fucking thing, and these idiots were like, it's like, okay, in 9 months, you're going to spend 3 hours on this feature on Tuesday from 2 to 5. Get out of your fucking mind. That there's no way you can schedule that kind of shit. That's like military stuff. It's like you show up to work and you do the next thing the best you can as fast as you can. But you can't
Absolutely, yeah.
schedule, 9 months in advance that you're going to be working on something from 2 to. That's like yeah, you're fucking. And then that every single project I've done that had that, it exists. It's the TDD. Well, not the TDD, but the whatever. And it's like it gets thrown out and ignored every fucking time. And again, these are the dipshits that make it annoying because it's like, look at me. I'm scheduling everything by them. It's like you're wasting your time. You're a fucking loser. Like I don't need a PowerPoint to tell me we're supposed to be making a great game, asshole. Oh god, I hated them. Biggest dicks. Oh no, yeah, go on.
No, I was gonna say because Facebook doesn't know what the fuck they're doing. They just like they spent millions of dollars on people that don't give a shit, and they just give you a PowerPoint and tell you, "Oh, make the best game ever." Boom.
Well, this wasn't. Well, yeah, I don't really know the chain of command. I mean, the company that I worked for, yeah, it's like so and so hired a company that hired these people. I won't say their name, and then they hired us, and it's kind of difficult to work on technology that makes you lose a day because you have to reboot it 8,000 times.
Yeah.
And Roblox isn't like that. I mean, well, Unity got pretty shitty. I remember Unity fucked me over, temporarily, really, really bad. Um,
Yeah.
it's like, it's like, okay, you collide with something, it sends you a notification that frame, and then for whatever reason they changed it to the next frame, and that fucked up our whole physics system. And that was one of my craziest rants. I was so fucking pissed. But this was when, the biggest dipshit in the history of fucking gaming. Oh god, what's his name? He was the CEO of Unity. Uh,
John Ravioli, I think.
Riccatello. No,
Riccatello, that's a
Riccatello.
Riccatello, yeah.
Fucking dipshit. Like I was at EA when he took over. Um, and he fucked that company up. I think it was under his watch they became the worst company. And he goes to Unity and he fucks that over. And they got rid of his ass, and they replaced him with, strangely enough, the guy who was the head of Red Hat. The Linux people, and now he's running the show. Unity seems to be a lot better place, but yeah, Riccatello is a fucking dipshit. It's like, why the fuck is EA hiring a CEO who came from Pepsi? How
They
does
probably
that
want
make
that
sense?
Apple magic.
I guess I don't know. It's just like, well, at least Apple's a computer company. Like I remember when I was first starting it was still the old guard. Monty Hall. Well, not Monty Hall. It was Monty something. These were like, um, and Bean Gordon and stuff like that. So when like EA still felt like a game company. Now it's just a corporation, which is fine, but
Absolutely.
it's just it was a really cool place to work. Great amenities. Free lunch. I think was it free lunch? I don't know. Who cares? Google has free lunch. I know that, but uh, yeah. So I don't know. I think unionizing game development would be very interesting.
All right.
But fortunately, we're here talking because we're not in the game industry anymore.
That's true. That's true.
So
Right. That's true. That's true.
yeah. And
It's
subs don't
and they try
unionize.
to keep your ass so hard. Like I did supply to like just a basic community manager position at Sega. It's like a day later, they told me to go fuck myself. It's like not literally, but it's they give you the
Yeah. Well, that's the thing with big companies, so they can just get rid of you for no reason. But with smaller companies, they have to have a reason. Like I got laid off from a company that was making like crossword puzzles, but they ran out of money. And what are you going to do?
yeah.
It's like it wasn't a very big company. Like this is a company that's still making, like crossword puzzle magazines, they call them, like black and white, paper crossword books. And that's all, and I remember at a meeting, they were like, one of the bullet points was like, yeah, we saved money by switching to open office. I'm like, me and the other programmer, like, what the fuck? Like that's a thing. But it was, they're talking about paper costs. And it's just like, wow, this is fucking ancient. So Battle Axe, this, older lady with a big hunch in her back is talking about paper prices and shit. Like, what world am I in?
That's how you know the company's done.
Yeah, but the guy who ran it was a fucking dipshit. And he
So it
pissed
works
me
out
off.
in the end.
Oh, God. He was giving me shit. Like, you're not following my designs. You're not following. And I was like, well, Unity is different than your designs. Like well, not design, but your specs or whatever. And it wasn't compatible. And I explained to it 10 times. And then I spent 3 hours after work putting together like a Trello card explaining it. I sent it to Bleak. And the next day, the fucking asshole was still giving me shit. I'm like, fuck face. I just spent 3 hours after work making a presentation to show you why your stuff isn't going to work. And he was giving me shit the next day. You know what? Fuck you. God, I hated him. Dummy.
Know. People like that are the worst. Like my old boss was like that in some ways.
Yeah, he would send me art, but it was always broken. Like, I'd have to work extra hours to fix his bullshit. And I told, hey, can you make sure that, it's not, every single image he sent me, I had to fix. And I told him what the problem was, and he just didn't, it was just like, fucking dipshit. So, but whatever. Oh, yeah. Also, always expect to deal with assholes, expect to deal with idiots. But I guess that's in anything. But, it's like.
Yeah, it's just work in general, yeah.
Expect the unexpected. The amount of shit of like unexpected things is pretty endless. So, absolutely. Which makes it interesting, but at the same time, it can be really stressful.
Absolutely. All right, so fuck, my throat's giving out. So yeah.
No, this was fun.
No, this is
awesome.
A lot of
Thank
fun.
you for coming on.
We definitely talked a lot more about than just work stuff, which is fine. So I hope the people watching didn't mind us kind of veering off.
Yeah, no worries. We only got like 4 viewers anyway. What I'm hoping is that eventually it'll grow up on its own or whatever the fuck, as long as we put the hours in. We'll do this again someday. I'll let you know.
Yeah, it's like if it hits, then people will go back and look at the old stuff.
That's what I'm hoping for, yeah.
Like I watch a podcast that literally finds podcasts with like 2 viewers, and then we go rate it. We go jump in the chat and start messing around. They're like, "Oh my god, there's 45 people in here. This is insane."
Yeah.
It's called The Raid. It's really funny, but it's behind a paywall.
Maybe I should try Twitch or something, because I'm doing Kick, I'm doing YouTube, I've been doing Twitter. I have to pay $40 more if I want to do 2 other streams. It's kind of a pain in the ass, but what can you do?
Yeah.
Maybe I'll just fork it up.
Like maybe we could go on when the raid is happening. And maybe, they'll find out, we got 2 viewers and they'll come raid us. And, I'm a part of that community, so I know how to fuck with them. And they know me, sort of.
Yeah, that's why I got Mann here, because I'm not so good with YouTube either. I'm more of a just chill out, just type it out, manage it, keep people in control, that sort of shit.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Anyway, no, this was fun. Yeah, let me know.
Wonderful, yeah.
Yeah, no, appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
All right.
Nice to meet you, man. All right. Later on, butters.
Later. Pleasure, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Bye-bye.
Brothers. Yeah. What the hell is butters? Whatever.
Brothers.
Hi, guys.
All right.
All right, this is fun. We'll do it. Yep. Do it again. I got some notes. I'll type them up in a little bit for future streams. But yeah, no, this was good. It was a good first start.
Yep.
We'll figure out a schedule and everything. But I think it's good. You got more people to bring in, absolutely. And again,
absolutely, yeah. I'll reach out to some people, see what happens. I'll try to, Tristan Chapman. I worked with him before, the Devil Engine guy.
Devil
Wanna find
Engine
that
guy. I don't know. I can't say that I have.
He's probably one of the older guard. He got fucked over by some AGDG guys or whatever. I'll ask if he's
Mhm.
interested. I'll ask if Bowen's interested. I'll ask around, see who's interested.
Yeah, ask around. And again, I've got a plethora of indie devs. If you ever want to bring them on, if you can't find somebody,
Yeah, I
got
I
plenty
would
of people
love to.
that
You
you
know,
know,
just to see what would work and what doesn't. It's good to experiment with these things.
Cool. All right, let me head out of here. I'll
end
type
the
up some
stream now. I'll
notes.
speak to you later.
All right, have fun.
You too, man.
All right, bye.
Definitely know what the notes are.